Hey, what's up? This is Steel. What I'm going to talk about in this video is how to improve fast and how to learn fast while you are watching me doing some visual development in the background. So how do you improve fast? How do you learn fast? The basic answer, the most obvious answers are like put in the work, practice all day, right? Hard work, smart work, 10,000 hours, right? But the one thing that will cut that learning curve, that will make that process much faster, is to just get around people who are doing what you want to do. Basically, just being around people who have what you want and interacting with them. Right, so first of all, don't try to do it alone. Don't try to figure it out all by yourself. Even if you could make it, it would take so much time. I'm sure you heard the term self-made, right? Self-made millionaire, self-taught artist. But it's a lie. There's no such thing as self-made. No one is self-made. As children, we learn from our parents, teachers, peers, society. And basically, we stand on the shoulders who came before us. Nobody figures it out by themselves. Of course, I understand that we use the term self-made to communicate that the person didn't go to college, developed their skills outside of college, but you get the idea. No one wins alone, no one fails alone. All athletes have coaches, pilots have co-pilots, all the successful people in business have consultants, partners, and especially in art, all through history, it was always this mentor-apprentice relationship. And there's this concept called 33% rule, which basically says your network should consist of 1/3 mentors, 1/3 peers, and 1/3 mentees. And there's another concept that overlaps with it. It's widely accepted that our egos have child, adult, and parent states, which all of them should be honored, in my opinion. For example, when you are learning, you are in a child state. When you are teaching, you are in the parent state, etc., etc. So this is like a golden ratio. So you should be learning all the time, basically, and you should have mentors who you learn from and who you get feedback from. That's also so important. Because if you just show your artwork to your mom or your friends, they don't want to hurt you. They probably won't tell you the truth. They will say something like, oh, cool, nice. But this is not about love. This is about trust. So you should have mentors that you trust, they are competent, and that they want the best for you, right? So there is this great book I just finished reading called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And there was this saying in the book, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. So it's very important to have that beginner's mind, to be open to new ideas, new concepts, because you don't know what you don't know. And you should have peers that you can share your journey with and support each other. And ideally, you should be teaching at some point. And there's this saying, best way to learn, to teach. You don't have to teach if you don't want to, but you can just create tutorials for yourself and add them to your library. And if you do it long enough, you will have a library of tutorials crafted personally just for you. That's a good way to honor that state. Or another great method is you can approach anything you are learning as if you are going to teach it to someone in 2 days. You don't have to actually teach it, but if you approach it like that, you can learn much faster and much better. Right, so let's talk about shadowing. So shadowing is a method mostly used in business where a newbie is assigned to an experienced and skilled person. As the name suggests, they basically shadow them and learn from them, and they cut that learning curve so much faster. By just being around people and working with them, we learn by osmosis, like we do when we were children. So as children, we learn most of the stuff non-verbally. Most stuff, they are not explained to us verbally. We just learn them by being around our caretakers at that point. Alright, so there are basically 3 ways you can go with. First option would be just Find that person you want to learn from, find someone in person, and attach yourself to them. Be around them, be their shadow. Of course, this should come with common sense and social and emotional awareness. By attach, I don't mean in a toxic way. Nobody likes cringe or neediness. You should establish that healthy relationship, right? Where both sides are winning. So how can you do that? If they're already teaching, you can just take their courses, enroll in their classes. If they're not teaching, you can just offer something else. And one response I get the most when I explain this concept to my students or peers is, I don't have anything to offer. But that's not true. You probably have at least one thing that you are good at. Maybe it feels so natural to you, and maybe you are underestimating it. Another response I get is, they don't need anything I can offer. So it's basically the same thing, but that's not true as well. Nobody is perfect. Everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. So think about it. We all have 24 hours in a day. And to be great at something, you need to invest so much time, energy to it. And if you invest all your time to something, you don't invest it into other stuff. So if someone is great at something, the chances are they at least have one or two things that they are not great at. This can be their craft. Like me, I'm pretty comfortable with drawing because I invested in it, but I'm not good at painting. So in painting, I get help from others. Or it can be another area of their lives. For example, they might be great at their craft, but maybe lacking fitness skills or communication, whatever it is. So if you have that skill, you can offer that. Or maybe you know someone with that skill, you can offer that. And you both win in this way, right? Again, it's so important to establish that healthy relationship. As a general rule, I would say give first, take second. That's the general advice. And this is not some slick manipulation technique that you use to get what you want from people. When you really add value to someone's life, solve a problem they have maybe, or make them very happy, and when you really do a good job with it, they will be eager to return the favor. Most people will be happy to help you in return. It's basic dynamics of healthy human relationships. You know or do something that I don't, and I know something you don't, and we interface with each other and make each other stronger. That's basically how humanity survived all these years. Right, so that's the first option. In person is the most effective, we learn by osmosis. And second option would be, if you can't find someone in person, you can just go online. And there are people teaching in different styles. You can pretty much find anything you want online. Again, if they are teaching, you can just join their courses or classes. If not, again, same rules apply, like approaching in a healthy manner, approaching without being toxic. And I've done this all my life, and I still do it. Anytime I find someone who inspires me, or I want to connect with them, I just mail them or DM them. And in my experience, I didn't get a single negative response. They either didn't respond, which is okay, or they were so kind and helpful, and I even became friends with them. Again, approach is really important. If you would message someone, it's always nice to start with a thank you. So I would go like, thank you, you inspired me so much, etc., etc. Right, so same rules apply. Give first, take second. And the third option is where you study other artists' works. Same with this one, I do it all the time. And I think pretty much all the artists, at least at some point in their lives, do it. It's been like that all through the history. Every generation studied previous generations, like Renaissance artists studied art of Rome or Greece. But this is not copying their work mindlessly, right? So it's these slow, conscious studies where you observe carefully, bit by bit, studying the work, taking notes, analyzing, etc. And this kind of study can be technique-oriented, where you are trying to figure out a specific technique or the process. And when it's technique-oriented, the goal should be how you can implement that technique to your process. It's not copying that. Or it can be vibe-oriented. where you are trying to figure out the emotional aspect, maybe storytelling, right? So again, point here is not to copy the artist's emotions or the personality. It's about finding out how you can generate that. So if an artwork you are studying makes you feel in a specific way, the question should be, how can I generate that emotion, right? So it's not copying them, especially it's not trying to be them. It would be impossible anyway. And the biggest contribution you can make with your art is you, your unique way of feeling, your unique way of thinking, interests, personality. Basically, your vibe. That's what makes you golden. So think about it. Your specific DNA has never existed and will never exist after you in this existence. If you look at any great artist, any musician, writer, actor, painter, it's not their technique what makes them great. It's always their vibe, and it's always what they bring to the table from themselves, right? And it's so amazing how much you can learn from studying just one artwork very carefully. Alright, so that's shadowing. And some things to add to it would be, as opposed to free stuff on YouTube, for example, since we don't invest anything to online free stuff, we usually dismiss it because it's our psychology. It's innate to us. Whenever I want to learn something, I just take a course. I just buy a course. And then I don't procrastinate. I don't quit. I don't dismiss it, because none of us want to waste our money, right? So it's also about accountability. When you take a course, there is the mentor that keeps you accountable for the results. So that's also important as well. And you also need peers that will keep you accountable. So remember, don't try to go alone. Don't try to figure it out by yourself. Most of the stuff we learn by second-hand experience. You don't have to learn everything by first-hand experience. Just like you don't need to jump out of a plane without a parachute to learn that you die if you do that. Most of the stuff we can learn from others. So get mentors and shadow them. If you are committed to learning, if you want me to mentor you, just hop into my Discord and join the tribe. And related to everything I was talking about, it's so important to learn from people, but it's also very important to build over what you learn. It's not about only shadowing someone, and it's like there are lots of people who established so many foundations, right? So it's about taking them and building over them. And the best way to take them is in person. Just be around people, learn by osmosis, and you build over it, and you keep growing, and you repeat this, keep growing and keep being more awesome. Right, so that's me for today. I hope you got something out of it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.